Go.
Okay.
Got it.
Okay, honey. Now we're going to do our. I'm going to ask you questions, so I need your answers now. Okay, so tell me, what is your favorite animal?
Teacher, my favorite animal is a dog because a dog is man's best friend, and I have a dog in my house. I always play with my dog, and we are always happy. And when I play with my dog, it seems that all my worries go away. So that's why my favorite animal is a dog.
Okay, and can you tell me what is the most popular animal in China? Is it a dog or is it something else, some other animal?
Teacher, to be honest, the most popular animal in China is the panda. The panda likes to eat the bamboo, and they are always having fun in the cage inside the zoo, and they are the most popular animal in China.
Okay, and can you tell me, do you have a pet now?
Oh, yes, teacher. I have 2 dogs in my house. One is a Doberman. It's a big dog. And the other one is a Shih Tzu. It's a small dog.
Okay,
And I like spending time with them.
okay, and did you ever had a pet before? When you were little, when you were a child?
Yes, when I was 9 years old, I have a pet goldfish. It likes swimming in the fishbowl.
Okay, and since you have said to me that you have 2 dogs, right, in your house, do you keep it indoors or outdoors? And do you prefer to keep it indoors or outdoors?
Oh, well, teacher, I usually keep my Doberman outside our house because he's a guard dog. He's a guard dog. You know, teacher, in our hometown, there are many robbers. So my dad put the Doberman outside the gate to
Okay,
guard our house. But my
okay,
Shih Tzu I keep in my room.
okay. What are their names?
The Doberman is named Lucky, and the Shih Tzu named Charm, Lucky Charm.
Okay. Oh, nice. Good
Lucky.
names. Okay. Okay.
In
So
China, very lucky, teacher.
okay, good. So teacher Amy, do we stop here or?
Well, I was waiting for you to make corrections or give feedback. Remember to not just ask the questions. Give
Okay,
feedback.
I wanted to do it after. Yes,
Oh,
but
no. We need to do it after each part. Okay.
oh, okay.
So I'll give you time to like give feedback, and then I'll give you guys feedback.
Of course.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So honey, you were good. Okay, you gave me the extended sentences, so that was very good. Nice job. It's good to always say as many sentences as you can, but just not go too far. Okay, so that is good. That is very good that you have done. we need to work a little bit on your pronunciation. Okay, so because you need to sound more like native speakers. I understand that you cannot be the exact have exact pronunciation like the native speakers, but as much as you can practice that would be great. So you can do it with me in our classes, maybe listen some audiobooks, or but we're going to do some work on that. Okay. Okay.
Yes, teacher.
Okay. So
Okay. All right. So great job to both of you. The first thing that I would like to say is that I need you to remember to take notes of what the student said, because I think that's why the feedback was so vague. You didn't remember. Um, the one thing that I would say is that I would tell the student to stop saying teacher, because that will deduct points when you're speaking. And in this part, don't I would say that you need to talk a little bit less. In the IELTS test, they also grade how related to the topic your conversation is. And sometimes the students will add extra detail trying to sound better, right? So they will start like, oh, yeah, my dog does this and this and this. And a lot of the times, the people who grade them will deduct the score because they're like, oh, they're just trying to.
okay, so you should, it's not related to direct question.
Right. Here, at least in part one, it's important that the student just make sure that they answer in a sentence, like 1 or 2 sentences. Because these are short-ish questions. Instead of saying, what's your favorite animal? You'd say, oh, my favorite animal is the dog because I really like how much they like playing. That would be
enough.
Yeah, that's enough. Like, you don't need that much.
Okay.
So keep that in mind when correcting. I would recommend that you just write down everything the student says. Don't make it visible to the student. Like, they will know that you're writing, but just don't show them that what you're writing, because they'll get very nervous. So those are the most important things in part one. These are usually very simple questions. If the student doesn't know anything about part one, if it's like, what's your favorite book? And the student says, I hate reading, tell the student to try to connect knowledge. And if it's definitely something that the student doesn't care for, and just change the question. You can, again, you usually have like a book, so if they don't like one question in part one, just change it. Look for another question that's something more related to the student.
I personally tell them to imagine they are a person who likes, for example, to read. If you don't like to read, you just imagine that you like it. And if I ask you what's your favorite book, imagine whatever book you have seen. So just the title, or you have heard of, or you were teaching in the school or something. So just imagine that and just work on that.
Yeah, I usually tell them to talk about their favorite movie that's based off a book, because that's also helpful. Sometimes the students will be like, oh no, I don't know anything about this topic, and they will start lying. They will start making up things as they go, and then they will like get nervous, and then they will be like, oh, I forgot the lie I was telling you because I was so nervous. So that's why I don't really recommend a student to lie, because a lot of a lot of teachers tell them, oh, just make it up. But the tip of like telling them to imagine that they like it and using an old book that they read in high school is really good. So I really like that, Chelsea. All
Okay,
right.
so I also have a question. I'm sorry. Does the correction takes place after every question, or we need to wait until they answer all questions and then do the correction?
I would do the corrections after we're done with part 1. So after you finish asking question 4, that's where
Okay.
you say, okay, great job. Now let's go over what we need to improve. First of all, you did great in this and this and this. You had a great tone. You answered in full sentences. That's very good. However, we need to work on this and this and this. Okay? Also, the first time you have a student, don't overcorrect because they are nervous, they are stressed, and they are a little bit insecure. A lot of the times, they are also scared of making mistakes. So be nice in the first lesson, okay? Okay, so now we're doing part 2. Mao, do you want to be the teacher? All right, let's see. Okay, so since we only have you guys today, Chelsea, now you're going to be the student.
Okay, good.
Okay, let's go. Like, don't say hi or anything because you're already like supposedly in class, okay? Mao, we cannot hear you. Your volume is very low.
How about now?
Okay, that's way better.
Anyways, there you are. Like what I said, so we're going to move on with part 2. And as we said earlier, you needed to answer these with a specific time. So I would like you to take a pen and a paper because I'm not going to show you the questions. So I would like you to listen carefully of the questions. Then later on, we're going to do random corrections to whatever we need to correct with your answer. All right. Okay, so are you ready, Chelsea?
Yes, I am.
Okay, let's start then. So it says here, you're going to describe a skill that was difficult for you to learn. Again, I repeat, describe a skill that was difficult for you to learn.
Okay, remember that you will usually share your screen for this. But I would recommend that you also read this part so that the student can hear better.
Okay, so these are the things you should say or the things that you need to answer. When you learned it, why you learned it, how you learned it, how you felt when you learned it.
Okay.
So should we start then?
Okay, we can start.
Go ahead, kindly.
Okay, so let's pretend that the minute went by already. Beep, 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 beep. The student needs to speak now.
Okay, so the skill that was difficult for me to learn is actually cooking. The reason why it was so difficult for me is because I don't like to cook. So I I haven't cooked for 25 years of my life because I was a student and I lived with my parents. So my mother was cooking and I needed not to cook, so I didn't do it. But then I got married and I got my first child, and I needed to learn how to cook. Okay, so the way I learned it is mixing my mother's recipes and the recipes I found online. So whenever I needed to cook a lunch for my daughter, meals for my daughter, I was either asking my mother how to do it or trying to find it online. So I felt very proud of myself when I learned how to do it because I wanted my child to have a good meals and to have good nutrition, so she could grow up very healthy and with in a proper way. Okay, so that made me very proud, but I must say I still doesn't like to cook very much. I just need to do it. It's something I have to do, so I do it every day. That's all.
All right, so thank you for that. Let's see. Okay, first thing first here that we need to be aware of is that in the IELTS test, make sure that you don't actually copy the same question when you answer. Like in the beginning, you mentioned that the skill that was difficult for me. So you can actually start that with something else like, well, to be honest, the skill that I think I'm having a hard time is cooking, something like that. So be mindful not to copy the same phrase in the question. So that's for the first thing. And one thing more is that, well, maybe because I don't know if this is your first time though, you're quite nervous, maybe something like that. So you were not aware of the time. I know all of us will have a hard time answering with the time limit. So as much as possible, so that you will contain the time there, you can focus your answers from the 4 questions that was given to you, like when you learn it, why, how, and how you felt, so that your ideas will be better. They are more organized and in sequence, and in that way you will not be adding up some sentences which are, yeah, they're kind of related with the question, but be mindful that we have a time limit in this part too. But anyhow, your answers are really great. You were able to answer all the questions here which are needed. And one thing more that I noticed is that when we are answering, sometimes there's a lot of in our mind, ideas are coming out, but let's try to keep the same ideas in one row, like why you learn it. Sometimes the ideas at the beginning, and then at the end, there's another idea which is related with the other question. So it's good if we're going to organize our idea by the questions or by the by the questions here. So the flow of your answer would be like natural. It's like you're telling a story. So that in the end is really good. Your answers are really good. There are just few things that we need to be mindful of, like what they said. as much as possible, be concise, be exact of your idea, and do not add some unnecessary ideas or sentences so that you can consume the time given to you. But all in all, it's really good.
Okay, thank you.
Great job. So one question, Mo, did you take notes?
Yes, but a few of it.
Let me see your notes.
I just took note of the important data, like the main ideas that she said.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let me show you what I wrote. I missed the part where she was speaking, but I wrote down everything she said. Can you see that? This is everything she said while she was speaking, except for like a part that I missed. Try to take notes like this. Why? Because then we can see the mistakes that she like continue to make. For example, you know, okay. Wait. As you can see here, a common issue that we could see was so. So was here. It's here. It's. I know I saw it like 5 times. There were a couple of times where.
So I needed to do it so she could grow up. So I do it every day.
Right. It's very common. I think it's a teacher thing sometimes. So I do it a lot too. That's why I'm super aware of it. But
This was actually on purpose because I have a lot of students who use so this was actually on purpose.
Right. So that's very important. I would say try to write down everything the student says in order to be able to correct better. Let's see. Said the skill that was difficult for me is cooking. You just told the student that they were rephrasing the question, but you could say, you could tell them, you could give them examples. For example, you said the skill that was difficult for me is cooking. A more proper way to say it would be, one of the skills that was the hardest for me to learn was cooking, or I had a lot of trouble learning how to cook. For example, so give them ways to say it that sound a little bit more natural so that the student has a guide. Then you can just like show them what you wrote. A lot of the times it's better to not do it because they'll get more nervous. But if you have notes like this, you'll be able to easily pull out the mistakes they're making. A lot of the times, if the students like your lesson, they will book you for a full week or a couple of weeks before they have their test. A lot of the times, they will start doing this a couple of weeks before the test. They will book you for a full week, and we will have time to improve these little things with them. This is why I really, really like writing down everything that the student says on the first lesson. Because it helps us identify the things that they need to improve. Okay? But overall, I really like the way that you gave feedback. I thought it was really nice. It had a lot of empathy, and I think if Chelsea was a real student, she would have felt really really great after your feedback. So that was great, Mo.
Thank you.
All right, Mo. Now you're gonna be the student. Teacher Peter, you seem ready. You just jumped. Okay, I think you're muted. We are running out of time again, though. We have 9 minutes, so let's just quickly leave and come back. But
Yes, and teacher Amy, I'm sorry, I have to go. So